Hello, you're watching Much Ado About Something, and I'm Donna. And today I'm going to show you how to make Comfrey Salve. Now, Comfrey Salve is something that we've used for years, and it's something that we use on our minor injuries that we have here around the house. And I just wanted to share with you this awesome salve and ointment that I make. It's from a commonly grown herb here in the U.S. Now, Samuel's in the kitchen with me. He's going to help me make this salve today. I have grandchildren here, and you might hear them in the background. Now, Samuel's interested in knowing how to make this because this is something we use, and it heals a lot of wounds in 3 days, doesn't it, Samuel?
Yes. It helped one of my scars on my arm gone in 3 days.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to read a little bit here for you and talk to you a little bit about this ointment. Now, this ointment is no longer used in the U.S. for oral use of any kind. If you have any kind of questions, be sure and research this herb really well, and even talk to your doctor before you consume it so that you'll know what's right for you. Now, it's recommended not to use Comfrey on open wounds or broken skin, and don't use Comfrey if you have liver disease, alcoholism, or cancer. And there's other recommendations. Elderly, pregnant, or breastfeeding should not use Comfrey products even on the skin, and don't use with other herbs such as kava, skullcap, and valerian, or acetaminophen, the other even over-the-counter products that have Tylenol or Tylenol-related product. Now, we just have this common recipe here. Samuel, what have we got here? We've got 1 cup of beeswax, and you can go ahead and put that. Actually, I have 2 ounces of beeswax in there, and I measured it out with a scale. So you can go ahead and put it in our makeshift double boiler we've got here.
All of it?
We're going to make a double batch because we use quite a bit of this. Well, there's a lot of us. You know, there's quite a few of us here. It's not that we use so much on each individual, but there's so many people that we need quite a bit of it. Okay, now Samuel's getting the beeswax, the 2 ounces of beeswax in our double shift boiler here. He's doing a good job of getting that in there. And our basic recipe is 1 ounce of beeswax to 1 cup of oil. Now, there's 2 ways that you can make Comfrey Salve. The 2 ways to make Comfrey Salve is you can make it from an infusion of comfrey oil. This is dried comfrey leaves that was in here, and I had oil covered to the top of it. I don't have a lot of this left, but I am going to use what I've got left here. Or you can use comfrey that's been dried and ground to a powder, to as smooth as you can possibly get it. Even if you have to put it in a mortise and pestle to get it finely ground, you want this kind of in the texture of baby powder. And that's the 2 ways that you can make comfrey powder. Well, I don't have enough oil, infused oil here. Samuel, if you'll pour this oil in that cup, and we'll see how much we got. Try not to get the leaves in there. You might have to use a screen. And just turn it up just as much oil as you can get out of it. We'll see how much we've got. And it's probably not a lot of oil because I've already used most of my oil for this year. The thing about this is if you are planning to make Comfrey Salve, be sure and harvest your comfrey and make sure it's dry, good and dry, so you can make an oil infusion out of it in time. And this has to steep at least 3 months, I would say, 3 to 6 months or even longer to get the most benefits out of your comfrey. And you want to do that ahead. But if you have dried leaves, you can grind them to a powder and you can use dried leaves. But you have to make sure that your leaves are as finely ground as you can possibly get them, because if you don't, there'll be some texture in your salve and your ointment. Now, we had about a little over a quarter of a cup of comfrey oil, we're going to go ahead and use that, and we're going to add powdered comfrey. You can go ahead, well here, I've got a little bit of jojoba oil. Now people are really finicky about their oils, so you can go ahead and add that and see how much. I love jojoba oil, it's actually a wax, and I like the texture it adds to the ointment. Samuel's going to go ahead and just take the whole top off and add that in there. We're going to see. Yep, just put the whole thing, what we got left in there. And that's almost a half a cup. Well, we're going to need 2 cups of oil. Just put the lid on that and save it. I refill that from a bigger bottle. Now we're going to put, we've got almost a half a cup of comfrey and jojoba, and we're going to put castor oil. Now all you need to do is really use 1 cup to 1 ounce of oil of your choice. Now I like MCT oil, which is just fractionated coconut oil. That's what this is. So we're going to just go ahead and take it and make it up to 1 cup with the fractionated coconut oil. Now I've got a blend of oils going on here. You can use any kind of oil you like. 1 cup of oil to 1 cup of 1 ounce of beeswax. That's what you make this out of. So don't feel like you have to have this blend of oils. I'm a little bit low on that coconut oil. I actually drink that in my coffee sometimes. And so I'm just using castor oil here. And castor oil I love in ointments. It's hard to go wrong with it. It's just a rich emollient, and it's wonderful. So we've got 2 cups of oil here. We've got comfrey oil that we had, which was a little less than 1/4. We've got the jojoba oil. I added the rest of the cup up with fractionated coconut oil, and then we've got 1 cup of castor oil. We've got 2 ounces of beeswax that's melting here. Samuel, we might have to stir that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, Samuel's stirring the beeswax, the 2 ounces of beeswax that we've got in our double boiler here. And I'm going to add the oil while he stirs. While he stirs the beeswax. 2 ounces of beeswax, 2 cups of oil. Okay, now we'll go ahead and cut that off because it's mixed. Samuel?
Mix them?
Yeah. Let's get it all off so that it melts. Did you burn yourself?
I didn't.
Gotta be careful.
It will, if you're not careful enough, it will sort of burn you.
Yeah, always have to be careful when you're using the stove. So we've got this just dissolving in here, the 2 ounces of beeswax to the 2 cups of oil. So we'll continue to stir that and let that dissolve in. And then we'll get that ready to put our comfrey in it. Okay, I've got the comfrey ground here. I ground it in a magic bullet, and it really made a mess because it came out through the bottom. But I've got it ground here as finely ground as I possibly can. I'm going to go ahead and add that to our wax and to our oil. We're just stirring it in here, getting it. Samuel, don't let that boil over on you.
It's not.
Okay, I'm mixing it up here. Got the beeswax, the oil, 2 ounces of beeswax, 2 cups of mixed oils, and the comfrey. And I'm just stirring it up, making sure that beeswax gets good and melted. And as soon as that's melted, we'll be ready to pour it into our containers. I've got one more ingredient to add just before I pour it into the containers, and I'll share that with you in just a minute. There's one more ingredient that we add, and that's Thymol. Thymol comes from thyme. This is red Thymol. You can also get white Thymol. And we put about 10 drops in there. And what that does is just boost the antibacterial quality of this salve. And it helps us to boost that antibacterial property with that thyme oil. And you may know thyme oil from the product Listerine. Now, there's a lot of things to keep in mind. This salve is very strong. Comfrey is a strong product, and it has been known to have properties that affect the liver. So we want to be really careful about this, using this, and do your research and see if it's right for you. Talk to your doctor. It has been used to heal bruises, pulled muscles, ligaments, fractures, sprains, strains, and osteoarthritis. And of course, we use it for just everyday bumps and bruises and things that you have, through the course of a day. It's got allantoin, and it helps cells to grow. But it also has parolizidine in it, alkaloids that damage your liver in excessive amounts. So you want to be careful. It is approved in the U.S. for ointments, creams, poultices, and liniments to be used on the outer part of the skin. So that's good to know. It is not recommended to drink or ingest orally any Comfrey. Use only small amounts of creams with Comfrey, and don't use it longer than 10 days. That's what they recommend when you research Comfrey. And it says don't use it more than 4 to 6 total weeks in a calendar year. And that's just an approved safe amount. And they also include the studies that they did on that. So if you want to keep up with that, then just know that that Comfrey is a strong product, and it has been researched, and there are studies that help you use it in a safe manner. And that's what you want to do. That's the whole goal, is to use your product in a safe manner. Well, it looks like our ointment has...
The ointment's definitely done something.
It's melted, and it's ready to pour in our tins. Now, we got these tins off of Amazon. You just look up tins, and these will come up. We got the 2-ounce tins with the lids. We usually put them in glass jars, but we've been making so much, and I gave some for Christmas, and it gets expensive. These tins with the screw-on lids, they seem to be more affordable. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Is it started? Okay. Are you showing right here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm showing right
Showing the tins? Okay. Now we're just going to pour this Comfrey into these tins.
Make sure to pour it slowly and gently. You don't want any of your Comfrey oil to go to waste.
That's true. I'm not sure Samuel and I are making 2 batches tonight, so we're not sure how many ounces we'll get out of this.
Mm-hmm. We might not get all of these tins filled tonight, but at least we'll have enough Comfrey Salve.
Yeah. Now, as you get towards the bottom, it seems like the herb is thicker. And what I found with this herb, doing it like this, is that as it sits and you wait for this Comfrey to cool and to use this salve, it emulsifies, sort of, the herb emulsifies into your ointment a little bit, and it becomes softer. So you're going to notice, I had one person comment that they thought the salve was gritty, but this is the thing about it. I don't think that it's grit, because it doesn't really have grit in it, but if it's not ground small enough into the powder, I guess it will feel like grit if you try to use it right after you make it. So a good way to avoid that is to make sure you grind your Comfrey, your dried comfrey herb that you're going to use in this salve. Grind it as thin as you possibly can get it. Even mortar and pestle it if you need to get it to the consistency that it needs to be. And let it sit for a little while. If you want it to, the herb to soften up in the oils that's here in this salve, if you let it sit for a little while, it'll soften up and it won't be, gritty. The herb that's in here will be softer. Now this is the herb that we have left in the bottom. That's what did not go in the oil and in this salve. But you can see this salve has a good dark green color. And because I used the little bit of comfrey oil that I had, and I put the comfrey powder in it, it's darker than it would normally be. Usually it's a lighter green, but that's okay if it's a little bit darker. That's not going to hurt it for us. Do not use comfrey if you have liver disease, alcoholism, or cancer. If you have any kind of liver problems, or if you're taking acetaminophen, I call it acetaminophen. I know it's in Tylenol. A lot of people acetaminophen. Anyway, be sure if you're taking anything that affects the liver, or you have any liver condition, that you just don't use this. Because of the paralyzing alkaloids in it that damage the livers. So you want to be careful with that. And the overuse, you want to make sure you use the appropriate amount. And do your research on the comfrey. And I'm just sharing with you the Comfrey Salve and how we use it. I thank you today for joining me. And like always, until next time.
Guys, before we leave, I would like to tell you, you should like and subscribe and hit the bell. Every time we make a new video, you get a notification if you hit the bell. Till next time.
Thank you. Give us a thumbs up, and if you like this video, be sure and subscribe and check and see what we're doing for the next one.